Ha 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 ha. Oh god. Okay. I'm laughing. None of you will know why I'm laughing besides me and Lee. The thing is, this is actually a re-recording. The second time I'm recording this, because I made one massive mistake in the first recording. So thank God I did an early access on my Discord. And if you don't know already, please join my Patreon. It will get you into my Discord where you get early access to my videos. And I had the early access video out for this video, which was the not what can you get, but it was the ultimate upgrade guide for every car from Famous Tracks. You want to know what was the massive mistake that I did? Every time I was supposed to say Famous Tracks in that video, I said two-tone. I was down bad, dude. Two-tone was such an amazing event that I'm still thinking about two-tone. I mean, every time in the video, I was like, carbon fiber, the two-tone pack, two-tone cars. And I said two-tone in that video about 20 times, and not once did I realize, hey, I'm saying the wrong frickin' tag. And not once did I realize while I was editing the video, hey, you're saying the wrong freaking tag. So I'm re-recording this just so I can say that yes, these are indeed Famous Track cars. Today I'll be telling you how I upgrade every single Famous Track car that you can get from the Famous Track carbon fiber. And this is going to be tried and true because a lot of these cars, which I'm going to tell you how I'm going to upgrade them, these are basically how I've literally upgraded my cars of these cars, or my version of these cars in my garage. So this is as true from the heart as it gets. Now, one caveat, one term and condition that I want to talk about is that we're not going to be talking about duplicates. Maybe at the end of the video I'll point out some cars that you might want to get duplicates for, but we're gonna say it this way: if we all had just one of each non-prize car from, I almost said two-tone, Famous Tracks, how would you upgrade the first iteration of that car? So of course, I had to reset my tier maker because the first video I called everything two-tone. I now have to reset all the tiers, so bear with me. I have to change their Kaiser to all the tunes. Okay, there we go. No more mistakes, right? No more. Famous Tracks. These are called Famous Tracks. Look, I really miss two-tone. Like, seriously, that was a fantastic pack. It feels like every other carbon fiber that came out, aside from the four-wheel drive center carbon fiber that we got, but we only got that in 3. Every other CF that we had has just been trash. Two-tone is kind of like a really good steak. You know what I mean? It's like once you have a really good steak, you don't want to have any other steak anymore because you've tried the best. It's like Ichiran ramen. Please tell me you're watching right now. Please tell me that you've eaten Ichiran ramen. If you've never had Ichiran ramen before, please just go get it. I mean, you can only get it in like New York or like in Japan, but if you can, go get it. It's so good, and you don't want to eat any other ramen anymore. But anyway, we have 996, 699, 969. How would I upgrade all these cars? Let's go. Famous Tracks. Bentley Mulsanne S is going to be 969. Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS is a Blossom choice. It is the common with the lowest 0 to 60 in the entire game, price cars included. Very nice. My go-to for the quarter mile and half mile in the common meta. But then again, I'm never around in the common meta, so although I know that the Monte Carlo SS is really good, you get a lot of value out of it, it's Blossom choice, I don't use mine that often just because when I see common in clubs, I just F off. And they're never common events in multiplayer anyway. Moving on is the Dodge Monaco. It's going to be 996 as well. It's got a decent top speed for an RQ14. No handling. Why would you ever 969 that? And the Renault Laguna, I would go 969 as well. Very nice though. Only 4 commons. I hate my commons. So, you know, if we don't have to use any of them, that'd be great. Maybe the next tag will have 0. We're making improvements. But yeah, moving on are going to be uncommon. So Bentley Brooklands is going to be 969. I've heard some people argue that this should be a 996 car, but in my humble opinion, the top speed just isn't high enough, especially when you compare it to cars like the Maserati Indy, which is definitely a drag spec car because it has 155. Now 155 when it comes to ultra rare is underwhelming, but for an uncommon, it's strong. Also, the MRI on the Indy is pretty freaking good. Now we talk about all the Chryslers. All 4 of them are going to be 969. They're all standard tires, and some of them, to be honest, the Sebring convertible and the Sebring, they don't even handle. 67 and 69 sucks. But then again, you have to remember it's RQ20 and 21, so they're given a little bit of leeway that way. They're not good cars, but I would go 969 nevertheless. They're definitely not drag dragsters. And then with the Dodge Daytona Turbo Z, that is also going to be a 969. Probably the best uncommon famous track car. I gotta remind myself, man, it's called Famous Tracks. It's not two-tone. If only you guys knew. If only you guys watched the first recording. I said two-tone so many times to the point where I was like, okay, I know I only have 4 hours of sleep, and if I re-record, edit, and post the video, I'll only have 3 hours of sleep, but it's worth it. Because if I know I post the other video where I say two-tone, 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 the comments are going to be endless, and it's just gonna stress me out. So Ford Fairlane Torino GT is gonna be a 996 car, definitely a bit of a dragster. Got a lower 0 to 60 to all the Chryslers that you see over here, and even worse handling. That is a telltale sign that it's trying to be a dragster. And then with the Renault Laguna is also gonna be 969. Now we move on to the rares. So the first one is the Bentley Mulsanne Turbo. Nothing good to say about this car. I mean, here's the thing, man. If you got a bad picture, at least have good stats. And if you have bad stats, at least have a good picture. But you got none of those. It's one of the worst pictures in the game with, not amazing. I almost said amazing. Atrocious. With atrocious stats, okay? 7.5 makes it not low enough to be a dragster. And 69 handling isn't high enough to be a 969 car. Very, very interesting. I do not know where to put this. Some people say it's a dragster because, once again, the 0 to 60 isn't the worst. Like, it's not the lowest of the low. Like, we're talking bottom 1%. It's still bottom like 5%, but it's not bottom 1% 0 to 60. And it's got a relatively high-ish top speed, but I can't, like, I don't know why people think that the Bentley Mulsanne Turbo, not a lot of people, I've just seen some people say that 332 or 996 is the way to go. I mean, you put it next to the Monte Carlo. The Monte Carlo has a much lower 0 to 60 by 1.2 seconds, a higher top speed by 15 miles per hour, and much more MRA at the same time. This, the 454, is a fantastic beast. I would definitely 996 it. The Bentley Mulsanne Turbo is it's going down to the point where you're kind of choosing between two evils. Do you want to focus on crappy 0 to 60 or crappy handling? At the end of the day, it's going to end up being an underwhelming car, no matter how way you max it, okay? But I'm going to go 969 because, like I said, this is a personal list that comes from the heart. What I'm telling you here on how I would upgrade these cars is how I have upgraded the cars, because I have these cars and I have them max, and you know, everything that you see here is how I've upgraded my own. Monte Carlo, Jeff Gordon as well, huge fan of this car. It used to be like my non-Dodge version of the Dodge Stealth, if that even makes any sense. I can't even say a discount Dodge Stealth because they're the same damn RQ, but once again, it's an American car in rare that gets 86 handling, and that's exactly what this is and what the Dodge Stealth is as well. Now we talk about our pair of D. Tomaso Longchamps. We have the Longchamp and the Longchamp GTS. Strangely enough, the Longchamp is actually better than the GTS, even though you'd think that the GTS would be the better version. At the end of the day, both of them come with the same MRA of about 72, which isn't too bad, but I will put them at 969 at the end of the day because they have decent handling, even though they also have high top speeds for rares. Not too high. I mean, when you put it in comparison, the Indy actually has a higher top speed, but ultimately, even though the Longchamp, not the GTS, but the Longchamp has a relatively low 0 to 60 of 6.2, I would put both of them at 969 nonetheless, because 72 and 73 handling isn't the worst thing in the world. It's not good. Like, these aren't good rares by tight margins. It is not even close to being a good rare, but I would give it 969. I think it's just more of a hybrid twisty car than a dragster. Alright, moving on is the Opel Monza GSE. That is also going to be a 969 car. And then we have Bonneville. And for those that don't know, I have a song called Bonneville. One of my favorite singles. I mean, one of two singles I have on Spotify. So if you want to check it out, it's on Spotify. You can go check it out. If you've seen Take Account, then, you know, you've probably seen Bonneville. I'll probably do a massive promotion for it once I do a massive pack opening, so a lot of people can see the promotion and, you know, they get the traction, whatever. But for now, yeah, we got the two Bonnevilles over here. This one's going to be drag spec, and this one's going to be 969. Pretty straightforward, pretty pedestrian stuff. Alright, now we move on to the 3 super rares that we get. Only 4 super rares in the entirety of Famous Tracks, not two-tone, Famous Tracks. Oh god. I still think Famous Tracks is a callback to just famous songs, but it really isn't. It's just things like actual famous racetracks. But yeah, 3 super rares out of 4, because the Porsche is a prize car. First one is the GTA Le Mans, and next one is the Monte Carlo SS. Now, 2 of these I want to talk about. I would probably get duplicates of them. Like, I don't know, I just feel like we might need tiny duplicates of them when it comes to the challenge. They're doing this new system where you can't see all the challenges at the same time anymore, so you can't see what the future requirements are going to be until the actual challenges are out. So at the time of me making this video, you only see the first 3 challenges of famous tracks, so I can't tell you what the other more niche requirements are going to be down the line, but right now it seems that it's just going to be famous tracks and you know, the rarities and all that kind of stuff. So I would say that for the Monte Carlo and the Le Mans, if I got them for the first time, I would go 3-2-3. But on a second time, if I really had to max them out, because you know I hate maxing super airs, but if I really had to do it, then I would drag spec both of them the second time round, because the Alpine Le Mans I think has 82 MRA and the Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS has 80. And then we have the Dodge Daytona IROC, and once again that is going to be 969. At the end of the day, for all the super airs that you get from this pack, they're all going to be 969. Okay, at least for the first iteration. Next is the Bentley Arnage T. That is going to be 996. Now this is a pretty interesting one because this reminds me of the rare Bentley Mulsanne Turbo. They have no handling to be, you know, a hybrid twisty car, but they also have a really bad 0 to 60 to be classified as a dragster. So why am I giving the Arnage 996 but the Mulsanne Turbo 969? It might seem like it doesn't make any sense. Well, the only difference here is the top speed. You're comparing 135 to 179, but like I've said so many times, you know, these Bentleys don't have MRAs. What's the point of having a high top speed if you don't have the MRA to back it up? This is true for the Bentley Arnage T, but then again, I did actually max my Arnage T 996 because in this situation, although it doesn't have the MRA to hit the 180 mile per hour top speed it might get, at least I'm hoping it would hit 150, I guess. I mean, that would be better than a lot of the German cars that max out at 155, because if you max out at 155, you put that on a test bowl, it probably means that you're only going to hit about 148, maybe 147. So, you know, the Bentley Arnage T, okay, 150, still not very good. It's an atrocious, just crap car in general, but just because I literally maxed my own Bentley Arnage T 996, I'm going to put it in the drag spec conditions as well. Next up, though, is the Bentley Brooklands. I don't need to talk about this one too much. This is tried and true a dragster, just a discount version of the Dodge Daytona. I've talked about this comparison many times. If you want to go check it out, you can literally check out yesterday's video. Okay, the rest of the Bentleys are going to be 699. So these are the butter cars over here. Well, not the butter cars, because only butter is actually butter. But yeah, all of these cars are going to be 699 for a reason. They all have their handlings above 80, aside from the extended wheelbase. But even for the extended wheelbase, 78 for 54 RQ isn't too bad for a Bentley. Not a good car, okay, not a good car, but I would go 699. Now, I know that they're really heavy cars, and in the past, I used to think that really heavy cars, you might want to go 969, because it might have been a weight thing that was the difference, but that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. So when it comes to ultra performance tire cars, it's not about the weight, where I determine whether I should 699 or 969. It's about the 0 to 60. If an ultra with performance tires has a 0 to 60 of 6 seconds and more, I would go 969. But if it's 5.9 seconds and below, I would go 699. And as you can see over here, all of these Bentleys have their 0 to 60s of under 6 seconds. Most of them at 5.1 seconds or less. Alright, moving on. Dodge Charger Daytona 699 as well, along with our pair of Porsche 911 Carreras. Both of them are going to be 699. Now, funny thing, my current Porsche 911 Carrera from 1990 is actually 789, I believe. Absolutely cursed. Basically what happened was that I was upgrading this car when I was incredibly tired, and I did the wrong fuse 2 times. So basically the first time I put the fuse in the first 9, which I believe is engine, and I realized after I put the 3 super air fuses into it, I was like, oh crap, this is wrong, I'm not supposed to do that. So I recovered. Instead of putting the upgrades in the engine, I decided to put the final upgrades in the weight. So at that point it was basically 333, if that makes sense. And then yeah, so I was back to the level playing field. I was gonna get it right. I could get it 699. But then the second time I was super tired again, and I put 1 upgrade in the engine, and I realized, oh shit, now I have basically 766 my car. I cannot make it 699 anymore. So I started panicking. I was like, I still want to max out the handling. So I went 789. It's cursed. My Porsche 911 Carrera, little of you may know this, but my Porsche 911 Carrera from 1994 is absolutely cursed. Don't follow me. Just go 699. It's just way better that way. Okay, moving on is the Porsche 911 Carrera. In most circumstances, I'd say go 699, but for this circumstance, I go 969. Mainly because of the 4-wheel drive, and there are only literally 2 cars in the ultra category you can use in famous tracks, not two-tone, famous famous tracks. Only two ultra rares that are going to be viable for the wet. That's going to be the Carrera 4 and the Subaru Baja Turbo. One with 4-wheel drive standard and one just because it has 4-wheel drive. The Porsche just because it has 4-wheel drive. In a more open setting, I would probably say that the Carrera 4 is more of a 699 car, mainly because it lacks traction control and ABS at the same time. And if I wanted to use a 969 ultra rare, if I wanted a 969 and ultra rare with 4-wheel drive, that's probably because I want to put it in rain spec. If I want to put a car in rain spec, I want to have traction control and ABS, so I'd probably give it to the BMW. I think it's 640D, I believe. But anyway, moving on, Porsche 911 Carrera Cabriolet is going to be 699, and then we move on to the Epics, and yeah, every single Epic over here is literally going to be 699. I guess, like, maybe you can make somewhat of an argument that the El Mirage could be 996 because it has 92 MRA. But at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, I guess you can say it's like a better version. I mean, it literally just is a better version of a Daytona because it has slightly better MRA. Daytona at 90, El Mirage at 92, same 0 to 60, and the El Mirage handles a little better, I guess. But, you know, the top speed isn't as high, so if you put the El Mirage and the Daytona on the test bowl, the Daytona is still going to win. I'll put the El Mirage at 699, but if you want to say 996, I mean, I'm not going to call you out on it. Like, it's somewhat viable. Okay, and then we have the last two Epics. It's the Spikers with the La Violette and the Peking to Paris. Peking to Paris, I would go 969, but if you get a second version, you could probably 996 it as well because it has the MRA. And then we have the La Violette, which is a 996 car. Not the best 0 to 60 in the world, but at least it has a top speed and decent MRI. I believe it's 89 MRI, which isn't too bad. So it is a bit of a dragster. I'd give it 996. Basically just a slightly better version of the Roof BTR. But it's going to lose to the quarter mile to lower RQ Epics, mainly the TVR with 3.90 to 60 stock. I don't know what the model name is called. I think it's Typhoon, but I'm not sure. And then we have the legendaries. First one, the McLaren F1 996. In my humble opinion, I think it's 996. The main two things is this, okay? High top speed, really good MRA, and the handling just isn't good enough to be a 699 legendary, in my opinion. 87 handling, if you're 699, that is 97 handling. I mean, it's gonna get destroyed on the twistier track sets against other 86 and maybe even 85 or 84 legendaries that handle way better. For example, Hollywood, my Viper ACR. That's 104 handling max. It's 94 stock at 86 RQ. This is 87. So in relative terms, I can say that the McLaren F1 doesn't handle. It's got a really good MRA. I believe it's 100 and a really high top speed. So it is a dragster by right. If I ever maxed it out, it would be 996. But I'll never max it out. I don't even have one. And then we have the Porsche Panamera Turbo, and that is going to be a 699. You're getting medium ground clearance, great handling, 4-wheel drive as well. A Blossom choice car, mainly because this is your best medium ground clearance non-prize car. And then we have the Dakara and the Roof Turbo Florio. So the Dakara, once again, is going to be a 996 car. I talked about this in yesterday's video really in depth, so if you want to check it out, go check that out. Basically, literally yesterday's video. I don't even need to link it. It's just the video next to this one when you go to my channel. The thing is, this car is a bit of a conundrum. It's a bit of a paradox, right? High top speed, really good MRA, but the handling isn't too bad as well. But here's the thing. Why would I 996 a Dakara? Because most of us are going to have the Dakara in a 333, right? 1 star. Not a lot of us are going to put any upgrades into it. And Dakara at a 333 standpoint is better at a 999, is better as a dragster than an all-rounder, if that makes sense. Because if you get this thing at 333, it's going to be 4.583. There are a bunch of ultra SUVs out there that surpass 83 handling, but those same ultras that surpass 83 handling do not have the top speed and the MRA combination that the Dakara brings to the table. So at 333, the Dakara is a way better dragster than a twisty car. Okay, and if you go to, if you max it out, I would say that you would get more value from the Dakara if you used it downright as a straight up dragster than a car that just handles pretty well. Because 89 handling when you max it out is still pretty good, but I feel like it's just more viable as a dragster in my opinion, and I would go 996. So hopefully, if you are thinking about maxing out your Dakara, my reasoning might help you move and sway in one direction over another. And last but not least is the Roof Turbo Florio. Roof Turbo Florio is going to be 699. Now I know it is 87 handling like the McLaren F1, and even way higher in RQ. Now I think that the Turbo Florio is just It just does not deserve RQ93. Absolutely not. I know it has a relatively high top speed, but the 0 to 60 for 93 RQ is weak. The handling for 93 RQ is terrible. I know it's 4-wheel drive, but 87 is still literally terrible. It has 90 MRA, but that isn't enough for me to say that it's a 996 car. I mean, when you think about it, the F1, higher top speed, better MRA, it is the best dragster. And four-wheel drive, it helps you with your off-the-line acceleration on a drag, but when the drag gets longer, that kind of becomes irrelevant. So in my opinion, the Roof Turbo Florio isn't the best of legendaries. There are situations where it will definitely shine, don't get me wrong, but it's still more of a 699 car. I know it seems a bit counterintuitive because it has the same handling as the F1, but the F1 is a way better dragster. The Turbo Florio just isn't. But anyway, guys, that is my final assessment of the famous tracks carbon fiber. Let me know if you agree or disagree, but basically if I had one of each of these cars, this is how I would upgrade them. In fact, if we talk about ultras and below, this is how I have upgraded them. But for the epics and the legendaries, obviously if I had the resources to max all of them out and I only had one of each, then I stand true with what I say over here. But anyway, let me know what you think about it with the comments below. In terms of duplicates, I would say the Dodge Daytona is a great car to get. The Laguna is a great car to get for duplicates as well. Not great, but it's decent. But the Daytona is a great car for duplicates. I would say Daytona is a pretty good one for duplicates. The Indy and the Monte Carlo as well. Just to have two in your garage, and maybe if the going gets tough in the challenge, I can see a situation where we might need to get duplicates of the Le Mans Alpine and the Chevy Monte Carlo, having 969 and 996 versions of both. But like I said, only time will tell. That is going to be my final assessment for famous tracks. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. I hope you guys have a great day. Remember to stay safe and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville
Atlantic.
Blonde hair, don't care, look like Leslie Brooks. Pin up girls everywhere with the drop dead look. Swing it side to side as we slow dance to the night. When I'll hold your perfect hand and take you out just for a ride. We'll share milkshakes at the diner and rebel at every hour. We can watch a drive-in movie, then have romance in the shower. Sleek my hair, light a lucky cig, lucky strike. Have a bowl at the bowling rig, lucky strike. Get some Elvis, play that J-House rock, jazzy. Spread the groove all around the block, jazzy. Boy, it must be good to be living in the 50s. A time just past the war and just before the hippies. Imagine being rich with just a single dollar. Cars were meant for charming and girls were called my darling. Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow,